inspires you that you can do something. And I think the title which Mark gave me was, what was it, Making the Most of the Online World, which is wide and varied. But in this instance, it's really about getting something done. You know, just because we're locked down doesn't actually change anything. You can get something done, whether it's I want a website, or I want to sell more, or I want to launch a course, or whatever. The technology barrier doesn't and shouldn't exist, basically. And hopefully, as hopefully Mark and Jules will testify, we try and make it fun, because we're all humans and the technology is often just getting in the way. So we try and make the technology part of it fun. Anyway, I've got the chat open on one side of my screen, but I'll whiz through the slides. Mark, Jules, if you want to interrupt me and focus on something, just shout out and I'll do that, okay?
Just wanted to check as well that everybody can see the slides when you share them, because I know if you can guys just comment if you can't see the slides, because we've got a techie expert who might be able to help you see them.
Can you see this sort of blue and garish thing with a little robot guy in the corner? That's the slide. Yep, thumbs up, Mark. Everybody. Cool. Okay, I'll carry on. So this is me. That's me group. This little guy called Bot is my little mascot, so he appears on everything. I'm not going to go into branding today. Half of what I do is about getting customers, and the other half is about building something to do it. So the Bot is part of my brand, and that's why he's got a slightly bizarre chap in the corner there. One quick slide. This is just a brain dump I inserted last night, actually. People often say to me, what do you do to allow me to do something? This is just my sort of go-to bag of kit that I use, and I'm happy to talk about more in more detail if you want to. If you're onto lists, Trello is one I recommend. It's like Post-its which you can order and put in place. So Trello, I'm not going to mention Zoom, you're all on there. Loom is something for doing quick screen recordings and sharing with people. Excellent little tool. Lightshot is more about making a clip of an area in a screen and putting arrows. So if you're having to take little screenshots and share them via email, it's a wonderful little tool, free as well. You don't have to buy Microsoft Office. LibreOffice is a free version of Office. If you're stuck at home and need a Word or a PowerPoint or Excel, LibreOffice is a free version of that. If you're looking for images, for slides, for websites, for emails, for whatever it is, Pexels is a great website to check out. If you want to create documents, whether these what we call lead magnets, and I'll come on to that in a second, but things you give to people as a PDF document, or you want to design a poster or flyer or whatever, canva.com is awesome. Google Docs is great for collaborating in real time, sharing notes and stuff. And as we go more techie, if you're into automation and you're a techie, check out Buffer and Zapier if you haven't before. And a text editor to use is Sublime, which is a great text editor. So that's just my sort of bag of kit. Mark, I think we're going to share the slides, Jules, so you don't have to scribble all this down. We'll circulate these slides at the end. Yep. I mentor people as well in terms of productivity and using the old phrase, get shit done. So these are sort of key tips from that. Every morning over my cuppa, I write down my today's to-do list. I do it on pen and paper, despite I'm a techie. I've tried everything and you still can't beat pen and paper. I rewrite the list every day by hand, bringing over stuff that I didn't do yesterday that still needs to be done, forgetting stuff I don't because things change. I repeat that for a weekly set of targets, and I do that on a monthly, and I review them interchangeably. And I do all of that day by hand. I haven't got my pad here. Oh, there it is. So pen and paper, and that just goes around with me, and wherever I am in the world, I'll be carrying that with me. I only check social media twice a day at most, for the most of half an hour at most. If the only exception being if your business requires social media as part of your sales funnel, which we'll talk about, then obviously social media is part of your business. But on a personal basis, I only do check social media twice a day, and I try and avoid the news feed because it's mostly full of adverts and crap that I don't want to read. So I focus on groups and chats with friends. I only check email twice a day, in the morning and the afternoon. I reply to people once and then I move on, because 99% of emails are not urgent, other than, you know, chasing people for money. And the key one, which I've highlighted in yellow, is on here. Switch off all social media and email notifications, and you will gain about 4 hours a day. Simple as that. You do not need social media. And they're pushing the crap to you. You should take control and go onto Facebook and go onto email when you want to do it in your day. So switch off notifications. That's probably the single most important message of the slides. Anyway, that's my cool bit. Cool. My bag of kit. Right. Where you are in your journey, you may be in one of these, before them, in between, whatever, but we generally want to inform people, sell stuff, and grow our customers. They're the three things that we generally want to do. I don't know if I'm the first person to say this. It doesn't really matter, but it's one of my favourite phrases. If you do something, something will happen. If you do nothing, nothing will happen. You know, so if you're in lockdown and you're sitting with your hands underneath your bum, nothing's going to change. If you want something to change, you've got to do something. So let's take website. So you may have website. I would do a hands up if we're in a big room. I'm not going to bother today, but you know, you can virtually pretend and say, are you thinking of having a website, or have you got a website? A website, I'll say in bunny ears, traditionally is an online brochure. Yeah, it's about you. It's what you do. It's stuff you sell. It's an online brochure. They say that everyone needs one. I would debate that at the end, because I know a lot of rich people who don't have a website, a traditional website, and we can come back to that and talk about that. And a website tends to get updated as you go. You know, you goes along. The cons of having a website, statistically, and there's a phrase called growth hacking, which is a valid term. It's not a Hollywood made-up thing, which is all about following the numbers. Doesn't matter what I think, what you think, what anybody thinks, you follow the numbers. Traditional websites, conversion rates from people visiting and spending money with you are low. It's a fact. Generally speaking, because most people who launch a website don't focus on the buyer. You go to a website, it's, this is me, this is how long I've been in business, this is what I do, this is how great I am, this is what I'm selling. It's all about me. And for that reason, among others, when you ask someone with a website, how much money does your website make? A, they probably won't know. And B, it probably doesn't make money through the website covering the costs. There are, of course, exceptions. But most people's websites cost them a couple hundred quid a year or whatever. And if you ask them how much money do they directly make through the website, not everybody, in fact, most people don't make the money to even cover the cost. So scenario one, you want a simple website, but you're not a techie. This is probably the majority of the people who I work with. You want to inform people about what you do. You want to get it up quickly, cheaply, easy to update. You don't give a dang about the technology. You just want it to get up and look good. I don't use Wix.com, but it gets a lot of bad rap. It's just one example, actually, of something which is pretty damn good at what it does. By the end of today, you can have a website up using Wix.com. There are many others available. Wix does get a bad rap for a lot of reasons, one of which it will push you into a dead end, and eventually you're going to get frustrated because it doesn't do what you want to be able to do. So that's one of the negatives. To get rid of the ads it displays, you've got to start spending money, and you've got to pay annually, and then you're into 70 quid a year. And at that point, you start to think about whether it was the right decision in the first place. But if you want a website up by this afternoon, go to Wix.com and you will have a website up. Getting stuff done. You want a website, but you're more of a techie. So the difference here is you're happy to play with the tech. You actually enjoy it. You're a bit of a techie control freak, because most techies are, and you want to grow it over time. I recommend WordPress. I've been using WordPress for donkey's years as a user, as a developer. There are loads of places you can go and get a WordPress website for your own. When I say self-hosted, I mean with a company like, for example, SiteGround.co.uk, very good hosting company, very good support. You can add things to it like themes and plugins. You may well be aware of these, which will give you a particular look and feel with lots of features added via the plugins. Be careful, they're often called freemium, which means they get you on a free version and then you pay to get more. The key point is you've got to update stuff yourself. And if you don't remember, you could have potential security scares. As you add on these themes and plugins, they could clash, they could cause problems. You generally don't have people to turn to for help. So you've got to be in the I am a techie mode to take this route, but it does open up more options for you. And we can go into more detail in Q&A. I want to sell stuff, but I don't care about the technology. If this is you, you just want to get a shop up online, go to Spotify. There are others available. Shopify. Go to Shopify. It's the market leader. It'll do what you need. It comes with some free themes to make the look and feel. It looks good. It works, and you can sell your stuff online. You know, there are other options, but just don't waste time looking at them. It's about 20 odd quid a month. Beware of hidden costs. You have to pay for more as you go, but they do have very good support. It's not the cheapest, but it's certainly the easiest if you just want to start selling stuff online. But if you're the techie version of that, personally, I would stick with WordPress and add something called WooCommerce, and I can talk about this in more detail, but this will get you a shop on your self-hosted WordPress site. So this is for the techies who still want the control, they still want the detail, they're happy to sort out the problems themselves, but they enjoy that. And there are freakish people like me around who do enjoy doing that sort of thing. So that would be my version for running a shop, but you want to roll up your sleeves and get involved in the technology version. Sales funnel. I am not going to go into the details of sales funnel unless Mark and Jules ask me to do so at the end, or if there's questions about what a sales funnel is. But the key question is, how does this differ from a website? The difference is it's 100% focused on an outcome. Now, I'm going to be a proponent of this transparently because this is what I do and I recommend. So if you want someone to become a customer, that's what you focus on. If you want to grow your email list, that's what you focus on. If you want people to sign up to a webinar or your course, that's what you focus on. It's a focused outcome. It's all about selling and maximizing income. Or instead of selling, growing email lists. It hasn't got to be about money necessarily, but it's about getting a result. The cons, it's a different mindset. It's a different mindset. You're throwing the focus from who I am and how great I am and this is what I do to that's the customer, that's what they want, this is the solution to their problem, this is what I'm giving them. It's all about you to the visitor and giving them what they want, proving that you're great, proving that you've got value by delivering to the customer. And therefore, you've got to totally know your market. So if I could ask you all in the room a question, it would be, who is your ideal customer, your perfect customer, your customer avatar, lots of different names for it. If you don't know who that ideal person is who would walk through the door into the room right now, then that's what you start with. And we can go into a lot more detail if you want to on questions. But this is about how you find your customer and convert them and grow them. So I've covered the left-hand slide. I've pretty much said it's not a shop. This is about selling them one thing that they want right now and growing them and selling them more and more and more. You never have a dead end. And in parallel, you're growing an email list so you can re-engage all of the time. Examples you can use, obviously, I'm here. I'm going to mention T4S Site. Apologies, but that's me. But to avoid some sort of bias, you can also look at ClickFunnels, Lead Pages, Builderall. There are several others around. Do check out costs. Do check out what you'll end up paying over the course of, say, a year or two. Finally, something else you can do in lockdown, launch a course. You can get one-off and recurring revenue, high engagement and loyalty with your fans, your audience, and everybody without fail has a course in them. Everybody. Everybody knows something, and I challenge everybody in the room to say that they don't have something that they know or can do that they could sell to somebody else, because nobody wakes up in the morning and says, I want to spend money. But people do wake up in the morning and say, I wish I could do that, or I wish I could learn that, or wish I could achieve that, or build that, or whatever. And because of that, you're selling them something that they want to do. You know, it's the easiest thing in the world to sell, because people want you to be there and they want to give you an amount of money or something to learn how to do what you can offer. And you can grow with courses with, you know, start beginners, intermediate and advanced and so on. So you can start very simple. A long list, yes, my own obviously, but also think of it, Udemy and Teachable are around, but do check out those hidden costs, because a lot of them will grab you for free and then start laying on the costs over time. So do your research. That's the slides, intentionally zipped right through because I'm aware that we could talk about a lot of things, from finding the customer, making them a visitor into a customer, growing them and beyond. We can talk about branding. We can talk about where to find people. We can talk about all sorts of things, Mark and Jules. So I'm going to stop the slides there and just say, you know, this is what I do for a living. So let's talk.